Welcome to the Transum Podcast, a monthly roundup of the new features on the transum.org website, providing mathematical puzzles, games, learning activities, and the ever-popular mathematics lesson starter of the day. Here's your host, John Tranter.
Happy New Year and welcome to the podcast for January 2020, the dawn of a new decade. And I'm recording this during the Christmas New Year holiday period where I'm travelling around and currently in my parents' house, so you may hear some clattering going on in the background as things are being done, or I can hear the radio is on in the next room, but nevertheless we will press on regardless with this podcast number 62. Now 2020 has begun, and 10 years ago, when my job involved producing a long-term technology development plan for the next 10 years, the report we produced was called 2020 Vision. You see what we did there? Anyway, it's been on my mind this year for a long time, but it's now time for me to demonstrate some 2020 vision. In fact, better than that, I will try to see what the answer to my next question will be without you giving me any clues. So think ahead to your birthday this year. How old will you be on that day? Add to that the 2-digit version of the year in which you were born. Right, with my 2020 vision, I can already see that the answer you have got is 120. Absolutely wonderful. Well, you can amaze your students with that trick, and you can actually try and figure out why it works. But we still haven't got to the puzzle of the month. Okay, if the sum of the odd numbers less than 2020 is subtracted from the sum of the even numbers less than 2020, what is the result? Okay, so we're subtracting the odd numbers less than 2020 from the even numbers less than 2020. Yes, I find I'm saying 2020 for that number just because it's this year, but of course, normally that number would be 2020. While we're thinking about 2020, did you realize that the first digit is the number of noughts in the number? The second digit is the number of ones in the number. The third digit is the number of twos in the number. And the fourth digit is the number of threes. That's very strange. Can you think what other year has got that property? That sort of digit describing itself meta type thing property? Right, while you think about that, here are some of the key resources added to the Transum website during the last month. Now you'll find links to these activities in the newsletter. But because of my Christmas New Year travelling, I might be uploading this podcast a couple of days earlier than the newsletter becomes live on the Transum website. So you may have to wait till the 1st of January before you can see the newsletter. Anyway, I will continue. Particular pipes is a strange title, and it is an exercise in adding decimals, fractions, or percentages. A number of pipe parts are provided, and you have to decide what combination of these parts will make the given length exactly. This is a drag and drop exercise, and remember the link is in the newsletter. Square and cube roots was created following a suggestion from a keen Transum user. It is an exercise in first finding the prime factorization of a number, and from that deducing the square root or the cube root of that number. I would like to think right now that you are starting to consider the new term, or even a new school year if you're in the southern hemisphere. So don't forget that there's a back to school collection of activities available on the Transum website. Relevant to this time of year, I'd also like to mention that the dodecahedral calendar for 2020 is waiting for subscribers to print out and construct, producing a useful item of desk furniture for the coming year. Okay, the brackets online exercise is the latest activity to have a set of help videos made for it. While doing the exercises, pupils can click on the Help tab to see a reminder of how to answer those sorts of questions. So that's the brackets exercise now with help videos.
You are listening to the Transum podcast. You can find Transum Mathematics at www.transum.org.
Now, I am horrified to report that there was a mistake in last month's puzzle. I typed in 18 instead of 10. But I've now corrected the error, so you can actually see the corrected version in the newsletter for December. The answer to this month's puzzle is negative 1010. So how did I work that out? Well, I considered all the numbers up to 2020 in pairs. An odd number and an even number, consecutive numbers in a pair. And because the first number is odd and the second number is even, I subtracted the odd number from the even number, and in every pair I got the answer 1. So 2 take away 1 gave me 1, 4 take away 3 gave me 1, and so on. So up to 2020 there must be 1010 pairs. So that's 1010 lots of 1, or 1010. Did you get the answer 1010? Well, the correct answer is not 1010 because the question clearly said all the numbers less than 2020. So we can't actually include the number 2020 in our last pair. So I have used a 2020 that I shouldn't have. So what we'll do is we'll subtract 2020 from the answer that we've got. So 1010 take away 2020 gives the answer negative 1010. How about that? The other year with the digits describing number of digits property is 1210 or 1210. That's all for now. Bye.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the Transum podcast. You can find the website at www.transum.org, where you're welcome to use all of the activities absolutely free, or jump in with both feet and become a Transum subscriber.